we wanted to model something different to anybody else. We all started as railway modellers, and we decided to switch to tramways because very few people model them. We all of us are interested in architecture, and modelling a city centre as we have has given us the opportunity to create lots of different buildings. The starting point was the Typhoon tram, which was produced in the 1980s. One of the difficulties you have if you want to model British trams in N-gauge is that nobody makes any, so you've got to make them yourself. And this little die-cast model was almost the right size, and it's also extremely robust. So we were able to take the floor out and insert a model mechanism and create quite a passable representation of a typical British double-deck tram car. We have a very mixed fleet of vehicles. None of them are direct copies of any one British tram car, but we've tried to give a realistic impression of what British trams were like, of all the different types. Therefore, we have both single and double-deck trams, and we also have trams with 4 wheels and trams with 8. The biggest challenge was sourcing an appropriate mechanism. It had to be quite reliable and capable of running at low speed, and at the same time it had to be very narrow to fit inside the body. This is because British trams are much narrower than trains. A train typically is around 9 feet wide, whereas a typical British tram at the most was 7 feet 3 inches. We found one in the Graham Farish 5-pole motor bogie, which unfortunately is no longer manufactured, and by making slight modifications to the framework of the mechanism, we were able to make it clip inside one of our much modified Typhoon trams. The big challenge operationally is extreme cleanliness. Everything has got to be kept immaculately clean. Both the rails through which power is drawn, the treads of the wheels which initially collect that power, the phosphor bronze strips which bear on the backs of the wheels to convey the electricity to the mechanisms, and the general cleanliness of the mechanism itself. The commutator has got to be kept clean, and we've got to keep the whole mechanism appropriately lubricated using the correct type of oil. So for bearings, for the wheels and the motor, we use an extremely light machine oil, and for the gears we use a high viscosity gear oil which stays where it should and is not thrown off by the action of the gears meshing together. When we go to exhibitions, cleanliness is all important. Therefore, we only go to shows where we know we have a reasonably clean environment. And when we leave the model overnight, we completely cover it with dust sheets so that it's nice and clean in the morning. We also have to clean the track before each day's operation. The action of the current flowing from rail to wheel leaves a slight residue on the railhead, which has to be removed in order to ensure reliable operation of the vehicles. Once we've laid the track, we then create the illusion of the road surface with finishing plaster, which is much harder than normal plaster and doesn't go to powder. To create the flangeways in which the reels run, we have a specially made tool fashioned from brass which carves the grooves in the road surface. Once that's done and we're satisfied with how the road looks, we then paint it with poster colour, which gives a nice flat finish and goes to an absolute matte, and therefore you don't have this unrealistic shiny effect which you do see in many other models. I think we've demonstrated that it is possible to model tramways on such a tiny scale and to make the vehicles run in a realistic manner without having to run at very high speed. Our trams are capable of running at a scale 25 miles an hour with complete reliability. This was our main target, to make a miniature of the real thing, not simply a rather crude toy, and we think we've succeeded in that respect.